This one scene quite literally made everyone love this character of Gravity Falls. The season 2 episode The Golf War is loved by a lot of fans, mainly because of this hated character of Pacifica finally showing that she's not just a mean person completely. Please consider joining and becoming a channel member so I can keep making stupid videos like these. And as always, thank you for watching. I had a whole video about Pacifica and her redemption. All you need to know is that before this, Pacifica was really hated. She was rude with to whatever I said in the other video, and made fun of Mabel's friends and family for the entire show, including the beginning of this episode.
Fat, old, lame, braces.
Zeus, would it be wrong to punch a child?
Which the beginning of the episode perfectly recaps where the characters are at, showing that they're all at bad odds, and Pacifica especially really wants to one-up them, which is why it obviously leads to them going at a golf competition for the rest of the episode. The episodes contrast this competition with Pacifica and Mabel with this competition of the Lilliputians, which eventually comes to a head when the Lilliputians of the windmill hole quite literally kidnap Pacifica and plan on cutting her up, I think, as we see later in the episode. But this makes an epiphany with Mabel, making them realize that they should stop fighting, saying that rivalries are dumb and they should instead work together, which turns against them when the Lilliputians work together to take them down, and I think carve up Mabel to get the sticker out, because they really value that highly for no reason. For truly no reason, considering they just learned about it today. But they fight him off and escape.
What's 10 minus 6?
10... hang on.
Where once again, Mabel again apologizes, giving a I apologize sticker, which is weird. This quirk of her giving stickers doesn't really happen after this episode, but it happens a lot, and this is a crucial element to this episode, but it doesn't come up again. And for the first time in the show, Pacifica doesn't try to roast her immediately after, like, Mabel tries to be nice. She says, "You're lucky this will be good on me," which is progress, baby, hello. And then the scene happens. The scene that this episode is kind of building towards a little bit, but this scene didn't need to be in the show. They could have easily just had it be like everybody goes home on their own way, the parents pick her up or whatever, but they purposely decide to have the parents not pick her up, which is very apt for what earlier we hear from the parents. When they drop her off earlier, they told her that winning is all that matters, make sure you win. We won't be here to see it. Make sure you win though, because Northwest don't lose. But then they're not even here to pick them up. So they don't even know that her like golfing teacher isn't here anymore. I guess Pacifica does say that she'll get a new one, and everybody just glosses over that. They just left the man behind for dead just because she'll get a new one because she's rich.
I'll get a new one.
Dipper and Mabel get in the car after Grunkle Stan and Suits pull up to pick them up. But Mabel looks out at Pacifica and looks at Dipper. And Dipper's like, nuh-uh. Which I really like, because it shows that Mabel may be okay with Pacifica now, but Dipper isn't. And I really like that they just have a little moment like that just to show it. But barely before Dipper's even done with his nod, Mabel goes, "Hey, your parents are here. You need a ride?" Which is like, oh, so nice. But I love the way that the audio directioning is. I know this is weird. Am I talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about the audio directioning in this Cartoon Kids show. Hello, everybody. It's MrMatter. I do that. I'm a freak. I have problems with my brain, and Gravity Falls is the only solution, okay?
Hey, your parents aren't here. You want to ride home?
The way Mabel delivers that line makes me feel at home in like reality, just like somewhat real and blunt. Feels like she's actually talking out of the car at her and like speaking up louder for that. I just really enjoy that aspect. I think it adds a lot to the scene. I think it sets the mood for this entire scene of how like they're gonna have this like just real moment of nicety and sweetness. Oh, it's so sweet, so cute. And Pacifica very obviously not being on that level yet, because she'll accept the sticker and be like, oh, whatever. And she goes, please, as if I'd write in here, and then thunder strikes, which would be seen as like, oh, isn't that coincidental? But that literally happens before in the episode, showing that they're in like a stormy week or something. Because literally before, a rainstorm appears to make it to where they have to reschedule for the next day so they can have more dialogue scenes in between there and have them sneak into the park instead of having a competition midday. So it's more interesting, and they can have the Puchians kidnap Pacifica, and it's fine in terms of people figuring it out. And I just love the hard cut from her standing there upset about the storm to her being equally as wide-eyed inside of the car. And then Grunkle Stan and Seuss are singing a song out of sync and not even being the same song really. But it adds to the fact of like how she's in a different mood right now. She's like with somebody else's family right now. Like this is what it's like to be picked up by somebody else's family, and it captures that mood perfectly, that childhood moment. Dipper's looking to the side out the window, just like trying to avoid the situation, arms crossed, being a little bit uncomfortable clearly. And then Mabel's just like enjoying life, looking out the window happily. And then her putting a hand on a mysterious unknown like liquid or goop, which has consistency of gum, but it's like way too much to be gum. And then immediately after she's grossed out by this weird stain, Mabel finds burritos behind the finds 2 tacos behind the seat, which is kind of all random, but literally earlier we saw them getting tacos, which is a little nod to that time Dipper went to, oh, I can't remember the name for some reason. Anyway, it goes to Florida, I think, maybe, I don't know.
Okay, let's all stop.
Are you writing Dipper Goes to...
This says Dipper goes to Florida. I don't know why he would go there.
We got it.
But what's super interesting about the fact that she takes out these tacos is Pacifica's response to it, because obviously you think she'd be grossed out by the fact she just got grossed out by the goopy on the floor, so she'd be thinking, oh, goopy could be on the tacos, but instead she's shocked that she's able to eat in the car.
You're allowed to eat in the car?
Which again reinforces how strict her parents are. Literally every scene she's in, you can see the effects of what her parents had on her. And it's really just child needs to be taken away, protected from these abusive parents. Are you kidding me? Like, she's obviously like this because of her parents being so pushing her in this direction. Their mom tore up the ugly duckling page for the last page to have it be like, oh, that got ugly and no one loves him, and that was the end of the story. And then Mabel instantly has like just the most Gravity Falls line. It's like, yeah, the car is where Secret Surprise Snacks happens. And it's like, man, I love this show. And then she offers her one and goes, oh, and that's supposed to take handouts, which is like, damn, she is ingrained in this culture of being rich and pompous. Like, she thinks getting a gift for somebody or somebody being your friend and getting something is a handout, which shows really how fake her friends that we've seen before are, to the fact that like they never even just like have given each other like, oh, here's some chapstick to unchap your lips. And I do like that Mabel is like a true friend. She's not like weirded out or being like, oh, she's like this. Like Dipper, if he was that handout, she's like, oh, handouts. Pacifica is such a rich bit. I can't say that. But instead of being like shocked or appalled by it, Mabel instantly being like, you know what sharing is, right? And then she's like, sharing?
Sharing?
Just take it.
Just take it. I love that. The scene is so good at putting Pacifica down to reality of like what a normal human goes by, I guess. Not like a rich 1% person, but instead of like a normal person in Gravity Falls, really. And just having this moment to show like how completely just brainwashed she is within the rich society within this couple of minute thing. It's like not that long of a scene. And even though they could have just had literally anything else in the episode, like flesh out another scene or have more jokes in the episode, instead they decide to flesh out this scene of Pacifica just being in a car with somebody else's family, being picked up and dropped off, just having a normal kid moment, eating tacos in the back of a car, you know? And I'm guessing some time passed because she walks out of the car and doesn't have the taco anymore. And they talk about how she ate the taco, I think. So I'm guessing she ate the taco. We didn't see a scene of her eating a crumbly taco and her going, ew, this is crumbly. And the scene is so nice and good. It has like some jokes in it and it helps flesh out these characters. It has some nice jokes that grounds her, but also like adds laughs to the audience. Because like if you hate her or whatever, then it shows like, oh, she doesn't fit in, but it also makes you be like, oh, she doesn't fit in. She is entirely different in this world. And that's what this episode really does good. It's like before we see her, she's always a top dog. She's either with her family or she's like the leader of a pack of friends or telling a group of people to throw tomatoes at Grunkle Stan or something, you know?
I want you to say that the Northwest family is the best family in Gravity Falls.
Oh, sure. You want that in writing? There we go. Ha! I did that with my mouth!
And in this episode, she's alone. Her family abandoned her at this abandoned golf course at night just because she's doing a competition. And that's clearly the only reason they're allowing her to do this. Which is why I would have loved like another episode of like, what if Pacifica uses the excuse of like challenging Mabel to something to just like hang out and be friends. And that could be like a whole episode. I don't know. It's just so easy to write like concepts for episodes for this stuff because you just want to know where your characters go from here and how they do. Which again, watch the full Pacifica video to for more about that. Which any of you guys watching this video likely probably know. This scene was so iconic to some people that this was animated, fully reanimated in an anime style for What If Gravity Falls was an anime video from 10 years ago, 2014, October 9th, 2014, of reanimating this exact scene, showing how important this scene truly is to people, which the animation really got the mood of the scene perfectly and really adding this really complex layer of like what anime style can do and everything, and adding even little new things like Mabel, instead of just standing there looking off into space, she's like bobbing her head around. In the plot of like Gum or Goop or whatever is more of like a tinier amount is like perfectly fit for her hand. But the real reason I'm talking about this, besides talking about an awesome fandom thing that happened, is the scene after she says, just take it. In the actual version of the scene in the show, it just shows him pulling up to the mansion. But in this reanimated version of the scene, it shows Mabel taking a bite of it and her looking down at the taco, showing her truly being moved by this kindness. It really makes this more of an anime moment, which honestly the show would have benefited from just showing Pacifica, because her flashing back, looking down on the taco, flashing back to her being mean to them on all the previous episodes, and just showing that this taco represents like something very nice that she didn't need to do for this person when all she's done is be rude to this person for an entire life. And she has this just little broken smile and teared eye and then eats it. It's like, oh, what an animator can do to add extra context just through animation. No extra dialogue or anything. But either way, this entire scene, the regular scene I'm talking about now, not the anime version, truly made people love her so much because it showed that this isn't just a rich kid, this is a rich struggling kid. But to talk about where the show leaves Pacifica off is that she walks out and thanks them, which is like first time that happened. Okay. And Pacifica goes, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I had fun, which shows like, oh, she actually had fun during this. And you gotta wonder like how much she does have fun because of that line. And then compliments Seuss about his W neck.
And tell your servant I like his W neck.
And yeah, she says, tell your servant that I like his W neck. But we're gonna put that aside for a second and say that she actually gave like appreciation to Seuss and Mabel there about like how she had fun today and that the W neck is cool, which is good because earlier in the episode he did that because of her. And the main thing is that she didn't need to say that, but she did because now she's like being nicer.
And tell your servant I like his W neck.
Yes!
Something I didn't notice. Something I don't think I noticed before is that Gruggle's Stan, when he hears that, goes from a full like cheek-to-cheek smile to like a frown and looks at Seuss as soon as that happens. It's like, I don't. Why is he so upset? Probably because earlier you tried to like seduce him a little bit.
Sure are a lot of stars out tonight. Well, this is getting weird.
And Dipper, being the inquisitive little boy he is, asks if they're cool now because he's not cool with her. And Mabel says, I think we made some progress, which is true. We need another episode, but we made progress. This like character is progressing to us. But just so the audience is at where the crew wants them to be at, they put in this joke of her being like, she's just a regular girl, and then shows a giant fountain and fireworks going off and saying, you win, congratulations on winning, Pacifica. And then the solid joke to like to put down the audience a little bit on like fully redeeming Pacifica goes, should charge her for the taco. Agreed. Which if you're going, oh, Pacifica is like fully getting redeemed right now or having this big push for it, instead it's like, okay, she's having this big push forward to being redeemed, but they need to do a little bit of a pullback with the burrito.
Should have charged her for that taco.
Agreed.
Which is like, oh, you're just gonna do this joke after like you try to redeem this character, but you're not trying to redeem him. You're just trying to push the needle a little bit. Which is why this one scene is so important to this character and what made people love her. It made the scene ground Pacifica in a way we haven't really seen before this episode, and especially in this episode, nothing this severe of having just like her casually talk about things, which leads to us understanding truly like how messed up in the brain she is by how her parents like have forced her to be this way throughout her entire life, and just a symbol of like this taco of being like this nice thing that Mabel is doing when all she's done before is be rude and mean to her. But literally whenever anybody like hates Pacifica or thinks she's the worst and will say it to her face, they completely turn heel as soon as this episode appears usually. And if not, it's with the Northwest Mansion mystery episode, which I talk about more in the full video here. Just like I did with the one joke video and how it goes to the Robbie video, this one is also just like talking about this one scene and why it's important, which is why I kind of glossed over it in my initial analysis, because I really wanted to go in depth in this scene because of how much it does and how much it does for Pacifica's character, specifically the audience's reception to it. It's super important to her character to the point of like being crucial. This is a crucial moment, which is why it was such an important moment that people wanted to animate it. And I think the reason why that video has 53 million views isn't just because it's like, oh, Gravity Falls is really popular right now and it does that. I think it's because it creates an emotional response that the show didn't have, but also emphasizes the way people think about it. This one moment quite literally made everyone love this character of Gravity Falls. The season 2 episode Northwest Mansion Mystery is loved by a lot of fans because of how Pacifica gets redeemed after being so rude for like most of the show. Today, instead of a scene, I wanted to talk about something smaller, even more unique. just a moment. Pacifica has been very rude and not understanding of the main characters of the show the entire time, all the way up until the Gulf War, which is where the one scene was from. The thing is with that episode and that scene is that, yes, that scene redeemed this very hated character for most of the audience and the characters involved, but except for Dipper. That's one thing you can point out in that scene from Gulf War, is that Dipper still hates her and still isn't okay with her, even though Mabel is. Which is what makes this episode of Northwest Mansion Mystery so interesting, because when Pacifica goes to Dipper for help because of him being this myth-busting guy that even gets put in the newspaper by the GOAT Toby Determined, he even still just says no. He doesn't want to help out at all. He was just sitting in his chair trying to watch a marathon of his favorite show, Ghost Harassers, but then he gets interrupted by Mabel and all her friends because they want to see the opening of the mansion, which has never opened its gates. So they're just watching the door of this famous place, which makes Dipper go, I hate her. I literally hate her. Why are we watching this? And I would say that to her face. And then she comes to the door.
I need your help.
You're the worst.
Which is such a good joke while also restating the fact that like he just hates her, which is something that I love about Gravity Falls. It's just how good the writing of the show is, of how it can do double things all the time. That was set up for the episode of showing that this big event, showing the stakes of the characters and where they're at with like this event and with Pacifica, and then ending it with a joke that is so iconic that people post at randomly. In which I'm not sure if it does as good of a job as the Gulf War with restating how people feel about them, because they're not stating that Mabel is okay with Pacifica as much as they're stating that Dipper still hates Pacifica, which is probably more important to the episode since they're not really hanging out with Pacifica at all. And they have several scenes setting up how famous she is, how popular she is, and even having all these tapestries on the wall while getting Dipper dressed in a suit to show like, oh, look how prestigious the family is, all their successes that they've had, showing how kind of proud she is of her family, even though she still gets belittled a lot, even during the cold open of the episode where she wears lake foam green and then her mom gets pissed off because it's not seafoam green. Instead of a golf competition between Pacifica and Mabel, it's more of like a competition of who can like one up each other with little jokes and jabs throughout the entire episode between Pacifica and Dipper instead.
So what? Are you going to bore him back into the afterlife by reading from this book?
Gotta splash this sucker with some anointed water, and he should be out of your probably fake blonde hair.
What was that about my hair?
But this comes to a head because instead of it being a competition and it going too far with the little Putchians just thinking they need to kill Pacifica for some reason, it's her lying to Dipper even after he thinks that she's fine and that she's a different person now, because her parents manipulated her into lying to him so that they can get the ghosts out for the family and party to be safe, even though all they needed to do was just let people in. Which is really not that hard, but they're just so up their own hoo-ha about this stuff that they can't even let just a couple of people into their party so that a ghost wouldn't turn everybody to wood and then burn them alive, which is what happens after Dipper gets tricked. Because obviously the ghost doesn't think he can convince Dipper anymore. So then he heats up the handle, which lets him just escape from the silver mirror because it crashes on the ground. And the only thing that can stop them is letting somebody in, which is what Dipper does after seeing such a horrifying scene just walking into the place of a guy crawling on the ground towards him, being like, help me!
Help me! Whoa! That is messed up!
And Pacifica is just back there turning her light on and off, clearly upset about something. Not even just because of lying to Dipper, but because of what she found in the room instead. Because she went back in here, assumedly just to hide from everything, because she's very overwhelmed. And then she finds the paintings, the same ones that were in the room where Dipper got dressed up because she needed to fit in here, that Pacifica was perpetrating, just like with the lies to him, and just like all the things, that she's perpetrating the badness of her family lineage. And that's what she finds in this room, is paintings. The paintings of the exact same people from before, but just all the lies and deceit that were behind it, which is like, dang, not only did they repaint it in a good way with the paintings up front, but they painted the bad stuff too. Literally quoted by Pacifica, a painted record of every horrible thing my family has ever done.
A painted record of every horrible thing that my family's ever done.
It's like, why would you? These people are so up their own hoo-ha that is crazy. Like they painted every misdeed. How do you even do that? But something I love about the way the scene starts is that Dipper comes in to try to reach for her just for help, and then she pulls it away before talking about this.
Pacifica?
You want to know why this room was locked up? This is what I found in here.
Which I like that Pacifica trusts Dipper enough to like say these things to. But at this point she trusts him enough because of how they had a nice day together despite the lies being said.
Lying, cheating, and then there's me.
And then Pacifica says all the things that they've done, lying, cheating, and then talks about herself, saying about how she's no different from all these other Northwests and this entire family lineage, about how she lied to Dipper just because she's too scared to talk back to her parents, which, to be fair, they are doing a Pavlovian response with a bell so that you wouldn't do things. So I'm assuming that there's some form of punishment that she's undertaking. Otherwise, it really doesn't make sense why Belle is making her scared, and that's it. But something I like about why she's saying that is that she throws away her earrings. She takes off her earrings and throws it at the parents, showing that she wants to change it, but she's also not sure how.
I lied to you just because I'm too scared to talk back to my stupid parents.
And then, sorry, I'm getting distracted by that picture. Look at that fur coat he's wearing. While it's stepping over, they're so pompous. Look at them. Like, literally, look at how pompous these guys are. He literally has, like, a whole, like, fur coat on, literally pointing down at a globe that he's stepping on. Like, she has a literal crown on with, like, golden earrings and a golden, like, band with little golden, like, gloves. It's like, these people are so weird. Like, even the other paintings of the other people are just all lies in deceit, like doing crossing fingers, like stepping over bodies, and he just has like 3 medals going on and stepping on the globe, pointing down at it. It's like, what is their problem, dude? Literally, the only other time we see like globe imagery like this, of like someone having like stepping over the globe, is with Bill Cipher, the person who literally wants to dominate the entire universe of this world with his hubby Ford. So the fact that pointing at a globe, just like stepping on it, like, yeah, we dominate the world, like, dude, you're just famous in this one town, calm down. Like, it's like they're just so evil.
You were right about me. I am just another link in the world's worst chain.
And then Pacifica throws the words back at Dipper of what he said earlier about just another link in the world's worst chain, which was such bars from Dipper and was also just straight on point, even more than he realized, by having all these photos showing their entire lineage has been this exact thing. If you were Dipper, what would you say in this situation? Your rival that you had this whole time, person that you constantly try to one up, somebody that has lied to you today, eyes full of tears. And do you get mad? Do you finally be like, oh yeah, now I could finally rag on this person?
Pacifica, I'm sorry about what I said earlier.
But no, he apologizes. He apologizes specifically for what he said earlier when he was mad and upset and hurt about being lied to, because he finally fully trusted Pacifica. But he realizes now that that doesn't mean that today was nothing. Like, what their fun that they had today was just like a lie, was just another act from Pacifica. It was real. It was real fun they had. It was real when they had a hug and then she paid him to say nothing about it afterwards.
We did it! Can I pay you to pretend that never happened?
And then he says, just because you're a parent's daughter doesn't mean you have to be like them. And it's like, oh.
But just because you're your parents' daughter doesn't mean you have to be like them. It's not too late.
And then also the way she like looks up at him and just like smiles, and why he goes, it's not too late. It's never too late.
It's not too late.
It's just like, it's so sweet. You know, it's just such a nice little scene, which I think is why this really made everyone love Pacifica, because this episode did a really good job of like showing multiple different moments of like, oh, here's her being nice, and Dipper finding her to be like a nicer person than he thought before, fully bonding over this time of being traumatically chased by a ghost that like has heads that literally barf blood. I can't, like, they're just blood, right? That's just allowed. You could just have that happen in a kid show, but that doesn't reverse this entire day, and they're having just fun together. But too late is too late.
It's not too late.
It's too late.
Like, I think it's this really sweet scene, but it is kind of undercut a little bit. Him saying it's not too late by the woodsman going, it's too late.
It's too late. You are all wood.
And I like how the woodsman goes, it's too late. You are all wood. It's like, who are you talking to?
You are all wood.
But I think compared to all of those little like nice scenes of them having a good time together, this is a good scene, because without this scene, this episode wouldn't be like as big of like being, oh, redemption episode for Pacifica, because it admits to her being wrong about things. It admits to her being lied to by her parents, just like how she lied to Dipper, and her feeling bad about it. Her feeling bad about things that's even just out of her control. Like, she can't control how controlling her parents are in her life and everything, but she still feels bad about it, that she didn't stand up to them. And then just Dipper comes comforting her about it is really good and really sweet. And I fully believe is a reason why people just love Pacifica. And just like the last scene we talked about where it had an animation of that car ride scene, there's an animation of this flashlight scene, though it is a lot shorter, which is why it is a moment and not like a scene. Which I think the fact that this is animated as well as the full-on scene just shows how this moment, even though it's not a full scene, even though it's not this big thing, is just still important to people. This reanimation of this moment does take some liberties, just like with the flashbacks being like, oh, here's this, and making the taco like a symbol. It takes Pacifica's flashlight and kind of makes it a symbol where it flashes whites. It goes down 2 times and just shows her. It shows Dipper in the background just standing there in the doorway, and then it flashes back up and then back down. It shows him sitting down with her. It flashes up and back down again. It goes from him just sitting there like listening to her, like looking at her, to being sad, and then it flashes again to him hugging her, which is like, oh my gosh. And then she like just looks down and drops a flashlight looking all defeated and everything, which is like, that's so good. That is so good. I almost wanted to like, that should have happened in the show because like it's such an iconic way for that scene to interpret, just like having the scene flash up and flash down. It's so like nicely artsy and like a very good way to show the emotion, such a simple way. Like this animator is very good at doing this apparently, to where they did it twice, which I think they're not going to do anymore considering these are from like 2015, but they're pretty good. I thought this idea initially to be a kind of a sequel to the one scene, because like, oh, one scene, I have one moment that was also reanimated by this person and is like pretty good, but it's still just like a good moment. Like it has as much merit as that scene does. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this video does good, especially after my big old ranking video. Go watch that big old ranking video if you guys want. I dived into little moments like this, but instead of a full-on moment, it's a line. So if you thought this video was long, go watch my 1 hour and 20-minute video about ranking every first line of Gravity Falls from worst to best. If you like this, I think you'll like that.